All right, so I'm really excited today to talk about this French dart and really make it just hopefully so clear for you all. I love this French dart. I want you all to love it and embrace it as much as I do. So clearly, let's just kind of define the French dart is when the bust dart and the waist dart are combined together in a dart. So the reason it's not sewn on the black lines as typically as any dart would do, if you have a bust dart, it's sewn on the top on the two lines. You don't cut those lines out. But a French dart, because it is a French dart and it's a larger dart because those two darts are combined, they have always cut the dart out, added seam allowance, and then sewn the dart. So we get what happens then is actually where the seam allowance no longer crosses, you get a distance from the end of the dart to that point. So your dart can stop up here, but your cutting stops down here. Now, in some cases, it depends on the size of the pattern, the size of the dart. We get the dart ending here, and the cut part is really, really close. So I'm going to show you two things that I think will really help you, and then we'll go and we'll stitch the dart. So we're going to stitch one dart on a sewing machine and one dart on the serger. So we're going to clarify everything else that we possibly can. And I would love the follow-up because I think that as we have questions and additional questions, if we follow them up soon, then we can kind of all feel confident that our French dart is you know, you can love it as much as I do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do in this example, I'm going to go from size 2 at the top and size 4 at the bottom. The sizes don't matter. I'm just going from a smaller to a larger size at the bottom. And the French dart gives many of you pause just simply because you don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of paper behind this for right now. And that's simply because I'm going to need some extra fabric on there, some extra space. And so I'm just going to put, you could leave the tissue, but the reason I've cut the dart out is to just kind of clarify it as you're doing it. So let me just say, if you're using a size 2 top, or whatever size you're using up here, that's the dart size that you use. You would not use the dart size that goes with the bottom. So I'm using a size 2 at the top, 4 at the bottom. I don't use a size 4 dart. I use a size that I'm using at the top. The dart goes along with the size I'm using at the top. Having said that, I've cut out the size 2 dart. And I've cut it out just so I can see it to be a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to fold this together as if it would be sewn. So I'm going to bring those two edges together. I'm going to kind of pinch a little 3/8 in there. And when I do that, what you'll see is all of these side seams, the 4, the 3, the 2, they will all align. All of those will align because it's just as the dart would be sewn. So you're going to have alignment going all of that way. Okay, so what I've done then is I've drawn with a black line. I go from the size 2 out to the size 4. Now, when you go out to the size 4 will completely be up to you. It's questions that you ask yourself like, do I have a really small waist and larger hips? Do I need it at the waist? Is my waist really heavy? So how soon I go from the 2 to the 3 to the 4 is your call. But if you're not certain, and certain, those were two words. If you're not certain, I couldn't have done that again. But anyway, if you're not sure, then just go from the 2 to the 3 quite quickly and go to the 4 quite quickly because I can always go back in and take out that seam allowance. Okay, so with the dart closed, I'm cutting on the 4 line, but I'm cutting on my black line now. I'm actually going into the 3 and then, of course, into the 2. So I went out quickly to the 3 and the 4. I did it up higher. There's not a right and a wrong. That's just what I did. All right, so then here is, when I open it up, you can see all the paper that's left. And what I'm going to do then is extend this dart all the way to the 4 line, which it's done. So you can see that by adding that extra, my dart end is all going to be correct. So you really don't have to kind of draw any additional lines. As long as you add that paper in, close up the dart, redraw the line, cut your pattern off, and then you can see the dart end will be perfect. So what I'll do now is just take this and get rid of I'm just cutting out the 2 dart again. So that I can actually not have all of that bulk behind my dart, just as if I was doing it. So that's what my pattern is going to look like. It still has the big gap, but you can see when I put those ends together and sew them, I'm going from the size 2 to the size 4 at the bottom. So put paper behind it, close the dart up, cut the new side seam gradually how you need it to go, open it back up, extend the dart lines, lay flat, and you'll have it all done. Okay, that's step 1. The next problem that we've had with French darts that I've gotten from your feedback, and I really appreciate your feedback, you guys. I'm going to apologize because the other night when we were doing the webcast, I had an email where they felt offended, and I really apologize. And I really meant to make things humorous, and I don't think I'm very funny. And so I really apologize. Your questions are really important to me. Your questions are paramount to our growth. You all help me understand what you don't know, and I really appreciate your questions. So let me apologize if I offended anybody. I am really, really sorry. It was not my intent. Okay, so the question is sometimes the opening is very close to where the dart stitches, and if you make it and then you go to lower that dart, you can't because there's a hole. So this is a really easy thing to solve. What we're going to do is I'm going to again tape a piece of paper behind it, or you have the tissue there, you could just not cut out the tissue, but sometimes when there's so many sizes it's a little confusing, so you could cut out the tissue and then put tissue behind it. And then when you cut it, what you're going to do is you're going to cut the bottom, because the bottom's not going to change, but only cut up like about 2 inches, and then cut over, and then go here to the other side of the dart. I'll show you this when I finish. All right, so see there where I've left this intact, and I've just kind of cut out this bottom wedge, because when I go to sew it, all I need is this bottom 3/8 right here, and I need the tip, and I'm going to sew that to be a straight line. Whether this is open or not right now doesn't make a difference. And then if it so happens that I end up bringing this dart like 2 inches down, I have the fabric there to do it, and then I can just redraw these angles, and all of those angles will stay the same. So I can put my piece of paper behind it, just cut out a little part down there, and then go ahead and use the bottom. The bottom is the guide of where the 3/8 is anyway. Use the bottom as a guide and stitch your straight line. And then again, with that same exact one, if I need to lower the dart, I can easily do that, and I don't have to cut out another one. Okay, so then we've got going from one size to another, closing up the French dart, fixing that. I've got if I want to lower the dart, no, I don't have to cut the line. I don't do it that way. I simply stop stitching earlier, is what I've said before, and that's what I mean by that. And then we've got stitching the dart. So now I'm going to use this. I can always use a new white t-shirt. I wear them all the time. I wear them out all the time because white t-shirts don't stay long. And so this one, I love this fabric. I want to show you some features that I'm going to use. It's got a pattern to it, and it's vertical. It's up and down. So I'm going to run that up and down. It's got 2-way stretch, so I can. And then it's got this cute little selvage. And it's almost like a little ruffle. So I'm actually going to leave that at the bottom of the sleeves and the bottom of the shirt, all the way around the bottom. So all I have to do then is stitch the French darts, the shoulder seams, set in the sleeves, and hem the neck edge. And I've got a fast little new t-shirt. So we're going to go start sewing. I'm going to sew, like I said, 1 French dart in the sewing machine, 1 French dart in the serger, and let's go sew. Okay, so here we are on the front. I've actually folded. I love about these tables is because you can work on them. You can just fold it right there. I folded my seam allowance down here at the bottom, but right here where I'm going to start stitching, and I've got black thread here. I'm going to do 1 dart on the sewing machine and then 1 dart on the serger. And so what you're going to do is just literally lower it right there, 1 stitch off, and then go very, 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 very gradual until you get to the cut portion. which is going to give you the whole 3/8. All right, so I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to show you the stitching of it so that you can see what that dart looks like and how gradual it is there at the top. And of course how it just goes on. I've taken one stitch off the fabric, and so if you look on that side, you'll notice it's a little bit, the camera's focusing, sorry. It's got a little bit of knot in there. So you can leave that, or you can just, you can tie it if you want to. Again, it's typically the same color thread, so it's not anything you have to worry about. Notice on this side, there's going to be a point because you want there to be a point, but it's going to come on the part of your body. Sorry, let me get that in the camera. Sorry. It's going to come to the part of your body, and I'm going to show you where you want them to come so that they're literally not visible. So you can see there's the end of my dart, but it's very gradual. It's very pretty. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's do one on the serger, and then I'll make the top and we'll wear it. And then you can see them on the body. And we'll do a close-up of that. Okay, so now when I'm on the serger, I've got the table the same because you know this table is my best friend. I'm going to lay it just like I did on the other one. And what I'm watching for is you've got 2 needles. You're going to do this with a 4 thread. I've got 2 needles, and I'm going to watch for my left needle. And that's all I'm going to watch for is my left needle. So all I'm going to do is start it into the machine, and I'm going to watch my left needle, and I'm going to do exactly with my left needle what I did with my machine needle. No different. And just make it more gradual. Now, because mine is taking away my seam allowance, this will finish off the dart and finish off the edge all at the same time. But when I look at it, I still get that extremely gradual onto the thing. And when you look at the right side of it, I'm going to bring it here a little closer to the camera. See, again, you can't even tell whether it was done on the serger or the sewing machine. It's just a nice, gradual, just very gradual on. Well, you can't see how gradual because the rest of the fabric's cut away. But what you can see is how smoothly it lays on this side and how smoothly it will press. And when we go to see both of them, you won't be able to tell which one was which. All right, so I'm going to finish making up the garment, and then we'll show you when we're done. All right. All right, so just a few things we need to know about French darts. We have so many questions a lot of times about where they come, where is right, what's this? So I've put this actually on a mannequin so we could really take a close look at. Notice that what we want is we want the dart to come to just the bottom of the bulge of the bust. When you actually look front on the mannequin, you don't even see the darts. That's what we want. They are functional, not visual. They're not a design part of the process. They're a functional part of the process because you can see how clean this is all along the way, and how what it does is it takes away extra length at the side but leaves it in the middle, exactly what the dart is supposed to do. But with the French dart also, it gives it shaping along the side. So as long as that's within 3 inches of the bust circle, of the bust point, it's within the bust circle, then it's our decision as to how close we want it to that bust point. So I think it looks better when it's on the lower side of the bulge to where visually it's non-existent. With this one, keep in mind that I left this cute little ruffle at the bottom of the sleeve and at the bottom of the hem. I love it. Great little base white t-shirt. We're all ready to go. So that's it on French darts. You have everything you need to know. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.